Hello there, guys. What is up? Austin Sweeney here with Sweeney TV. I had a request in one of my videos to talk about ENFPs specifically and how to find a job, or how this person specifically called out, relating finding a job with depression or stress or anxiety, and that maybe not finding a job or not feeling like you found your calling is the reason for why you're so stressed, which is fair. So I'm going to share with you guys what I think ENFPs can do, to help combat that anxiety towards, finding a job or approaching a quote unquote dream job. I'll talk about that as well. So yeah, I'm just going to get right into it. So first, I would say change the way you think about a job, right? So as an ENFP, and myself, in general, we can be overly idealistic, right? Especially when it comes to thinking about jobs, because in our minds we think, okay, I've got to find like my dream job. I've got to find the job that's perfect for me, and and every day that I go there, I'm gonna be excited. I'm gonna be enthusiastic, and it's just gonna be great, right? It's gonna be like I'm not working, right? Sometimes we think about that, like this job is gonna be so great. It's like I'm not even gonna be working while I'm at work, and we tend to overthink it, right? You tend to think, oh my gosh, like you think of all these possibilities, and whether or not you even know what your dream job would be. For even for my case, I don't technically know what exactly I want to do. I do know what my interests are, but for some people, they haven't had that time and that self-reflection where they just get overwhelmed, right? They just think, oh my gosh, there's so much out there. What could I do? I don't have enough time. I'm so stressed. Maybe I don't have the right opportunities. So the way to combat this actually is with being very realistic, right? is to be what we are normally not as good at. Is to to be very realistic, very practical, and just think about and take things at face value, right? And it's hard for ENFPs to do that, and it does take practice. But it also can just take a couple of seconds, right? Is to just think, okay, I'm not going to overthink this, in the end. And what I had to realize too is overthinking never really does anyone any good, right? It's better to just get out there and and do it, or just explore what you're interested in versus than just thinking about it. Because thinking, if you think about it, thinking if you think about it is not good, and that's why I'm telling you to think about it. Because thinking too much thinking is bad. Um, but I would say, and I have my notes over here. I'm looking at. I would say the 80-20 rule is good to think about when you're thinking of your dream job. Because I've talked to people who are already at their what they say is their dream job, or what they were called to do. My dad, for example, and even my dad said the 80-20 rule is across the board for a lot of people. What that means is, even at your dream job, you will enjoy at least 80% of what you do, right? A vast majority of what you do, you will enjoy. If I can think about, I used to be a cart pusher at Costco. I maybe enjoyed uh, 10% of what I did, and that of that 10%, all of it was not work related, right? It was just conversations I was having with my friends. It was chasing people who stole TVs, right? So like that, not the best job for me. Different for other people, obviously. But even with your dream job, right? You'll enjoy 80%, and then there's probably 20% you won't really enjoy. It's the menial tasks. Maybe if you wanted to own your own pub, and the part you don't really enjoy is doing the numbers. Did we make enough profit last night? It was a great time. I was entertaining people, but did we make a profit? Did someone spill a drink? Are we getting sued because one of my bouncers fought someone? Right? Again, that realistic, practical side comes out. But that's a good mindset to have. Is that even in my dream job, there may be things I might not want to do, but if I think about it from a practical side, I say, hey, you know what? Majority of the time, I enjoy what I do. So that's kind of how to think about work. Try changing the way you think about work, make it more realistic again. And I know that kind of feels like you're taking the fun out of it, but again, our job is to combat anxiety and stress, which again is overthinking in the mind. So it helps to be realistic. It helps to say, hey, this is actually how it is. I'm just gonna think of it like that. So second is how to get hired. Okay, so I'm gonna say something here, and people may disagree, and that's fine. Uh, but schooling, college, skills. I say schooling and college are different. Sometimes the system is weird, but those can all be learned. All of those can be learned. Those even at your job, they can teach you the skills. If you need to go to school, your job may even pay for it, right? You can go to school, but even outside of that, friends and connections cannot be learned. That doesn't really make any sense. Let me explain. Instead, your friendships and the connections that you have, those should be nourished and those should be taken care of because that is how you get a job. Vast majority of the time, connections and friends is how you're going to get a job. If you're worried about getting a job or you're actively seeking a job, look around you. What friends do you have? What friends do they have? The other day, I was walking with one of my friends, and he told me a story about a group of people who met together every week. It might have started as an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, but eventually the person who was running the meeting said, "Hey, what do you guys want to do?" And someone said, "You know what? I want to get into law." And a person in the group raised their hand and said, "Hey, you know what? I know a professor at a law school. I bet we could get you a some kind of a discount." And it happened again and again and again. We're just people in the group were raising their hand and said, "Hey, I know someone who does this." It's very important and it's very vital. Connections is the number one thing. If you're going to get a job or if you want to know what a job is like, connections and your friends is the first place to go. I guarantee it. It may be hard for you because, again, there's that realistic versus the I want to do it myself side. Like there's kind of like this feeling. I know for me, at least as an ENFP, being overly idealistic in all the movies you have, it's almost as if I expect to find my dream job just walking down the street. And then I'm just going to get slapped in the face with some guy who's like, "Hey, you look like you want to be a writer for kids television. Hey, come here. Come on inside. Let's go. You look like you could use the job." I don't know if that'll ever happen. If it did, I would probably laugh my ass off. But, again, friends and connections, very important. That's probably the way you're going to get your job. Because the second part is how to think about how companies hire. Right? If you think about it in terms of circles, the very smallest circle of these circles is within the company. So if a company is looking to hire, they'll hire within the company itself. So at work. Next, outside of that is probably the work-related, so like work-related colleagues. So maybe people from other businesses or people with inside the work know, they'll hire that next. Outside of that is like the friends of friends. So people at this work would say, "Hey, I know one of my friends, is interested in this job. Maybe he doesn't have, experience, but he's good. I can vouch for him." As a recruiter, that is fantastic because you have a reputation with someone at your work and they say, "Hey, I know someone who's like me. I can vouch for them." They're a good person. The person they're recommending is probably also a good person. A recommendation is very valuable. It's the most valuable thing when it comes to a job. I know how I got hired at Costco. If you can think of it, the recruiter told me there were a stack of 500 resumes. And if you want to know, that's the very outside circle. Outside of friends, of work-related friends, is the resumes to essentially unknown people or just random people. But again, at Costco, there was this stack of about 500 resumes. And mine was probably like 27th. But when it came up, the manager who was working there, I had taken her daughter to prom, oddly enough, and she remembered me, and she was like, "Oh yeah, Austin Sweeney, he told me he was looking for a job. We should hire him." Like, that's all it took. I spent like all night. I spent like all week writing that resume. You know what mattered? I took her daughter to prom. That wasn't on my resume. I didn't just boldly write, "Hey, I took your daughter to prom. Hire me." Again, it's just simple personal connection. Got me the job. My friends at Safeway and Fred Meyer and other smaller departments were like, "Oh, you work at Costco? How'd you do that? Do you have experience pushing carts? Did you build a cart farm in your backyard and push carts all day?" And then wrote on your resume, I was like, "No, I took my manager's daughter to prom and she knew me." She knew me. Connections. So, moving along here. So, how to get a job and what kind of a job should ENFPs get? And I may be running out of time here, so if I have to make this a two-parter, I will. Hopefully that first part was good. I don't know. I don't know if I'll run out of time. So, what kind of job to get? It depends on you and your experiences. So, as a person, if you're thinking about what job to get, think of literally, who am I? And usually, you are going to be a combination of your experiences, and you're going to be a combination of your natural self. So, for your experiences, that's in line with your work, maybe your work you're doing now, even if it's at McDonald's or a retail store, basic level work, just any type of work, your hobbies, sports, family and friends. Those are your experiences, right? Those hopefully give you an idea of what you like and what you don't like. It's kind of like the realistic side of your work related things you do. So it should give you an idea of if I like this or if I don't like this. Do I like spending time with people? Do I like talking to one of my friends for great length? Or do I like talking to multiple friends 5 minutes at a time? Talking to you Snapchatters, you talking to so many people at once. I couldn't do that. I don't think ENFPs do that anyways. I know for myself, I'd rather talk to a small group of close friends, have some good conversation with some whiskey or something like that. So there's your experiences, and then there's your natural self. And your natural self is important because that's just how you are without faking it, without being anything else. Your natural self is your thoughts, the way you think about things. It's your work style. Do you enjoy working by yourself or with other people, or do you enjoy a combination of the two? And your personality, right? Obviously, if I'm speaking to ENFPs, and if you guys out there are ENFPs, but even if you're not, your personality plays into your natural self as well. And that's going to go into what kind of work you want. I know for myself, I would probably enjoy a combination of working with people and working alone. So for ENFPs out there, I'm speaking directly to you guys. Sorry, other personality types. Sorry. I probably only have to apologize to INTJs, maybe. I don't know. I'm not trying to offend anyone. But for ENFPs out there, look for a job that's probably project oriented. So it could change between 1 to 4 months. You work on a new project. It's nice to have things that are different. It's nice to have multiple things that are going on. Look to have people involved in your work. I know if I was shut in a room and someone just told me to just be there and type on a computer for like 8 hours a day, aka computer engineering, coding. I mean, they work with each other too. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. That's maybe how it used to be, but I could not do that. I like having a little bit of people interaction. That's who I am as an ENFP. I enjoy the personal connections I have at work, and collaborating with others. That's also important. So collaboration should be at your job that you're looking for. You need the approval of others. Honestly, ENFPs especially. I like being told, "Hey, you know what, Austin? You did a good job." It's like, oh, thanks, boss. You care what I do. And that could be because the people you work with are actually your friends, or even your boss is a family friend. That helps a ton, honestly, guys. It helps so much when the person you're working with is a friend, or even your boss is a family friend. It makes approaching them so much easier. It makes everything so much more natural, and it makes you less stressed. Instead of, oh, I have to approach my boss, it's, oh, I have to approach Frank. Frank's a good guy. I bet he can help me out with the situation, or he'll be nicer to me, in regards to my work. That's really important too. Approval and appreciation of your work for an ENFP is very important. If you're at a toxic job, if you don't feel like you're being appreciated, get out. It's not worth it. You can always find another job, guys. I'm telling you that right now. If you're at a dead end job, and it's going to be hard because some of you may be stuck in that job for family situations, monetary situations. But I'm just letting you know it gets better. You can find another job. I had a forklift driver when I was at Costco, and I thought I was never going to get out of Costco. I thought it was like a prison. And this forklift driver said, "You know what, Austin? I've had 14 different jobs, and now I'm here working as a forklift driver, and I love it, and it's great. But I had those other jobs. You as well will have multiple jobs, and you always have the capability of finding something better. There is a way, and for those of you who feel like you're really stuck, please reach out to your friends, reach out to your family. That's the best way for you. It'll be the most natural way to try to find another job because they can put in a good word for you, and anything can happen, guys. Honestly. So just trust in yourself, believe in yourself. Last but not least, For ENFPs, the big no's, the big no, I do not want to do this, would be routines. If you're at a very routine job, for me it was Costco. I was stocking shelves Monday through Friday, even Sunday, Saturday. When I came into work, guess what I was doing? I was stocking the shelves. When people wanted to talk to me, it was not about if I was doing well, it was about if I had stocked those shelves over there. It was very routine. I did the same thing over and over and over again. The repetition, I almost got carpal tunnel syndrome from handling all that soap detergent and stacking it. ENFPs don't like that. We like a little bit of ingenuity. We like more creativity, more freedom in our work. If it's numbers heavy, may not be the case for all of you. Again, ENFPs are talented, and we have the ability to be good at multiple things. Honestly, we can. That's a great thing about us, and take pride in that. But if it's really numbers heavy, if I'm just crunching numbers, and again, if it's like really accuracy heavy, like if you don't get this number correct, people in Argentina are gonna explode. I couldn't take that pressure. I don't know about you guys, but like if it's with numbers, come on. I had one of the worst jobs I ever had was this guy sat me down in front of a computer, put Excel in front of me, and said, all right, you're going to crunch these numbers, but don't make a mistake. And I just died on the inside. That is all I have for you guys. Wow, I got through it. I don't know how much time is left on this video. Hopefully this helps. Maybe this can be a part 1, but maybe you guys can, use this to think about work in a different way. ENFPs especially, make it realistic. Oh, I actually forgot. The last part is, get your feet on the ground. If you can do a job shadow, or if you have a friend who, has a job that you want, or you have a family member, ask them questions, do the research. If you're interested in something, do the research, make it as realistic as you can, make it as tangible as you can, so everything comes closer together. It's not so far away, make it attainable. Again, ENFPs are great at relating to others. A job shadow can be huge. We ENFPs are so good at relating to others. If you just job shadow someone once, you can get a great idea and a great snapshot of what that job is like. I'm telling you guys right now, like, get those experiences in, and the experiences are going to help shape what you want to do later on. Thank you guys very much. Again, my name is Austin with Sweeney TV. Hopefully this helps ENFPs out there, along with other personality types. You guys are always welcome as well. Thanks, and have a great day.